So the next topic is like report generation. So after executing any of the scenarios, right? So we need to create a evidence. So how we are going to create a test evidence? So only by generating the reports. Because whenever we are executing any of the scenarios, right, we need some proof of evidence. So how we are going to generate the proof of evidence in the sense we are going to like make the framework to create a report for us. So it will have all relevant information. What is the scenario which is executed, or what are the steps it has executed, and even right if we need a screenshot, we can take the screenshot and we can amend the screenshot in the report. Okay, so when someone review the report, okay, so they will have better visualization. So they will get to know so what are the things we have validated and what is the respective output, because all the output data are captured in the report. Okay, and how we are going to generate the report? Basically, in a Cucumber BDD framework, okay, it offers like three type of default report. One we call it as an HTML report, and another is of an JSON report, and finally we will be getting the JUnit report. Okay, so these are the three type of reports which is offered by the Cucumber BDD framework. In addition, like if we need any other third party report, yes, even we can amend the third party reports inside the framework. And where we are going to configure this report generation in the sense, so only inside the runner class. So in the runner class we have used the method called as an plugin. Okay, so inside the plugin method, like we have used the keyword called as an pretty. Okay, so why we have used the keyword called as an pretty? Because it has beautify the result in the console. So only inside this plugin method we are going to configure the HTML, JSON and JUnit report. Again, this plugin is a kind of an array, so that is the reason we can inject multiple input of a similar data type. Now let me, okay, just navigate to this particular runner file. Okay, so now let me just open the runner file in which we are having the plugin method. Okay, in which I'm going to add the three type of report. I'm just adding the comma. Okay, for better understanding, let me have everything in a different line. Okay, so that like you can understand much better. So what are the three types of report I'm going to generate? For generating the HTML report, we should use the keyword called as an HTML. So for generating the, okay, JUnit report, so we should use the keyword called as an JUnit. And in similar way, like if I need to create a JSON report, so I should use the keyword called as an JSON. Okay, so with the help of this plugin method, we are going to create the HTML, JUnit and JSON report. Now next question is like where we are going to, okay, store this report. So basically we need to specify any of the path. Okay, and where can we store the report? In the sense we can basically store the report in the target folder. Okay, so or we can try to store the report in any of the path. So why I'm specifically storing the report in the target folder in the sense, because like in a day-to-day life we may execute the script n number of times, right? Which means like every time if it's keep on like storing the report, okay, so then so the memory consumption will be like bit high, right? So then what we can do, we can store the reports in the target, and if need we can download the report from the target folder. And after some times, so if you don't need the report, so we can easily, okay, clear this target folder, because I have already told like we are having an maven command called as an clean. So whenever we say clean, it will clear the temp files. Okay, so all the reports we are considering as an temp data. So post referring, so once we need we can download those and we can upload wherever we want. And if we don't need the report, then we can clear the target folder. So that is the reason what I'm going to do, I'm going to store the report in the target folder. Okay, okay, we are going to store the report in the target folder. So just I am providing the colon of target. Or if you want to store, if you want to have the report every time in your system, then you can use any of the folder. That is purely your choice. Now inside this target folder, we need to specify the name for the report. Okay, or even like if you want some folder name, you can create one more folder, or straight away inside the target folder, let's say for HTML report I am just giving the file name as an HTML report, and the extension of the HTML report should be .html. Okay, and the extension of the, okay, JUnit report should be in XML. So let me give it as a JUnit report dot XML. Now the extension of the JSON report should be like kind of an .json. So just I am adding this piece of line. Okay, so whenever like we add this piece of line, post execution, it is going to generate the report. Okay, so we can refer the report. So from the report we will be get to know so all the relevant information which we required. Now let me just run any of the sample script. Let me run one of the detailed script. Okay, so that like we will be getting multiple screenshot. Let's say, let me try to, okay, run this login scenario, or even like in an Amazon we can try to run this first scenario. Now let me update the tag over here. Okay, and let me just update the URL. So the URL should be updated in the framework dot property, and I think this test data is present in two places. Let me delete one of the test data. Okay, now let me just update the URL of an Amazon. Okay, now let me try to run the script. Now the expectation is like after running the script, it should generate the report. Where it should generate the report? So it should generate the report under the target folder, because we have specified the path of the target folder, and it should generate three type of report. One is of an HTML and JUnit, and other is of an JSON report. Now let's see how the report is going to look like, in which the HTML report is kind of an human readable report, whereas so this JUnit or this JSON, right, it is going to act as the result injection. Okay, so what is mean by result injection? So the result injection is nothing but, okay, so in a real-time project, like we will be using the any of the project management tool. Okay, how I am using Jira, in similar way there are n number of project management tool, and obviously like this automation script will be present inside the project management tool as well. And if you are running the script in the server, okay, whatever the status is, like whether it is on pause or fail, it should update the status in the project management tool. So how it going to update in the sense, so based upon the JUnit and JSON configuration. So basically like the developer will configure those configurations, so you don't need to worry about it. So we need to add this piece of line so that like it will give the JSON output, so they can read the JSON output, and from the JSON output they can like populate the result in the project management tool. Okay, so now it has executed. Now if you notice under the target folder, it has printed, okay, three reports, and this JSON report will be kind of an JSON format. And if you notice, like it will have all relevant information. It is going to act as a result injection. Okay, so it will have like whether the status is pass or not, and whatever the steps which is executed, etc. So it will retrieve this section, and if the status is passed in the project management tool, it will update the status as passed. Okay, so likewise these are acting as the result injection. So we can't use this results for an verification. If you want to do the human verification, then obviously like we need to access this HTML report. What you can do, you can right click on it. Okay, and there is an option in opening, and if you click on the explorer, okay, it will be navigating to the particular report path. Okay, now if I double click and open the HTML report, it will be open in the appropriate browser. And now you could be able to see the information. It's saying like we have executed in the Windows 11 and what is the Java version we have used, what is the Cucumber version we have used. And in addition, if I expand it, okay, it is giving me the information like we have executed this feature file and we under which we have executed this one scenario. If we have executed multiple scenarios, then all the relevant information will be present inside this single report, and it says the given statement is pass, when statement is pass, and then statement is pass. Okay, so whenever it is a one green tick, it indicates it's like kind of working as expected. If there isn't any error, right, so in this particular line it will throw the error and appropriate error message will be captured in the report. Okay, so this is kind of a basic report which we have generated, but this report contains only the details, right? Okay, so we don't have appropriate evidence, which is nothing but there is no screenshot. So then we need to capture the screenshot and we need to amend the screenshot over here. So how we are going to achieve, or when we need to take the screenshot? So the screenshot should be taken after executing each and every statement. Okay, after executing the given statement, we need to capture a screenshot, and after when we need to take a screenshot, and after then we should take a screenshot. So is it possible to take a screenshot after each and every step? Yes, is it possible? So how it possible in the sense? Only with the help of the hooks. Okay. So in the beginning of the class, like we have like discuss about the hooks. So there are two types of annotation called as an at before annotation and another we call it as an at after annotation. So generally the like this at before annotation, so execute before start of each and every scenario. Okay, so it is going to execute before start of each and every scenario, but this after execution execute at the end of each and every scenario. Okay, so which is nothing but after executing all the test steps, right, it will execute this at after annotation. Okay, so these are the two annotation which we have discussed, and apart from this, right, we are having some more annotation called as an at after step. Okay, and then we are having one more annotation called as an at before step. Okay, so these are the two types of annotation, other annotation which is available. So it will execute after each and every test step. Okay, and whereas like this will execute before each and every test step. Okay, so if you need a brief example, like let me just take this scenario. So before executing the scenario, if we have configured before annotation, so this before annotation will execute. So this is just a command line. Okay, this keyword is not going to play the role. Okay, just for the reference I'm mentioning. Okay, so then this after annotation, right? So this after annotation will execute after executing all the test step. In similar way, we are having two more annotation after step. So after executing this given statement, so this annotation will execute. After executing the when statement, so this annotation will execute. Okay, so this after step will execute in similar way. Like after executing the then statement, it will execute the after step. And if we need to execute the before step, before executing the given statement, it will execute the before step. Okay, in similar way, before each and every step, it will execute the annotation called as an okay before step. Okay, so depends upon our need, so we can configure any of the annotation. So in our case, like we need to take the screenshot after executing each and every step. Then what is the annotation we need? So we need only this annotation called as an at after step, and we are not going to use this at before annotation. So the reason is like basically in the early, So only with the help of the at before annotation, like we have invoked the browser, but like we have changed the concept, right? So we are invoking with the help of the constructor. We have set the text context. So only with the help of the context, we are starting the automation execution. So that's the reason I'm not going to use the at before annotation, but I may require this at after step. So the reason is like if you notice after executing each and every scenario, okay, so the browser remains still open. So how we can close it in the sense we are going to write the code in the at after step. Okay, now let me just create a hooks, or else like even for the hooks you can create some separate package. So let it be called as an hooks, and in which let me add a hooks class. Okay, now we need to specify where the hooks is present. Okay, basically, right, if you notice in the runner class, right, so we are having something called as an glue. Okay, so what is the purpose of the glue method? So in which like we are specifying the path of the step definition. So only in the provided glue path it is going to scan the annotation, it is going to check the annotation. So which means inside the hooks we are going to add many annotation, right? Then we need to provide the hooks path as well. If you are creating the new package, you need to specify the, okay, the new package as well. Okay, so that is the reason like this glue method or feature method are in the form of an array. So we can include many path. So because what is meant by array? So inside an array, we can store a multiple values of a similar data type. So that is why they have provided this feature method and glue method as a array and the tag as a string. Okay, even the plugin is kind of an array. So now I have created the hooks. Now inside the hooks, I am going to use the annotation. So what is the needed annotation? So I need the annotation called as an at after step. So I'm just typing at after step. So whenever like you try to use this annotation, right, make sure like whether you are importing from the Cucumber or not. So make sure it is importing from io.cucumber.java. Now at the end, right, I'm just adding open and close bracket, and as per annotation rule, so whenever you're using the annotation, like we need to create a immediate method. Now I'm just creating the method called as an capture screenshot. Okay, I have created the method, and inside which like we are going to amend the coding to take the screenshot. Now if I hover over the mouse and if I click on the import statement, this error will be rectified. Okay, so now how we are going to take the screenshot? So there is an interface in the Selenium called as an take screenshot. Okay, so with the help of the take screenshot method, so we are going to configure the coding. Okay, so let me just correct this name. Okay, let me use the interface called as a takes screenshot. Okay, if you notice, so there is an interface called as a take screenshot. But if you need to like use the interface, what we need to do, we need to implement with any of the class, right? But here how we are going to take the screenshot? We are going to take the screenshot with the help of the driver. So what we can do, we can typecast the driver to this take screenshot method. We are injecting the knowledge of the driver to this interface, and then we can easily take the screenshot. So let me just give the variable name as a screenshot. Okay, and how we used to provide the typecast, as I told, we should add the open and close bracket, and we need to mention the appropriate class name or the interface name. And what is the knowledge we need to share? We need to share the driver knowledge. But where the driver knowledge is present? So the driver knowledge is present, okay, inside the base class. And how we can access the base class? So by only by accessing the text context. Then what we can do, I can create one more constructor over here. Okay, and in this constructor I'm injecting the knowledge of the text context. So I'm just making sure like we are calling the text context, I'm giving some variable name. Okay, and in which I'm going to assign the context knowledge to the global context. So let me create one global context, and then To this global context, I am going to assign the knowledge of the local context. Okay, so now we are getting the knowledge of the context. If you get the context knowledge, which indicates you are getting the knowledge of the entire browser base and all the page objects, right? Now inside the context, right? Okay, we are calling the class called as a browser base. This time we are calling the browser base because we need the method called as an get driver. Okay, so whenever we call the get driver, we have added the return type, right? It is going to return the knowledge of the driver because like we have added the return type. Now we are augmenting the driver knowledge over here. Okay, now this is done. Okay, now let me just mention everything inside a open and close bracket. So now what we have done the typecasting. We have like assigned the driver knowledge to the take screenshot. Okay, so now let me just add a semicolon, or else like even we don't need this like kind of an open and close square bracket, because how we are going to take the screenshot in the sense, so inside this screenshot interface, okay, there is a method called as an get screenshot as. Okay, there is a method called as an get screenshot as. So we need to specify the output type. So the output type is like kind of a class. So what is the output type we need in the sense? So basically like whenever we are capturing the screenshot, so if you notice, so it is having the base 64 or file or bytes. So in our case, we are going to capture the output in the bytes so that like we can convert the byte to an images. So that is the reason I'm specifying the output type as bytes. So whenever I say bytes, it is this particular line is going to return the byte data. Okay, so if it return the byte data, then we should store in the appropriate data type. So there is another data type called as a byte, but here it is going to return the bytes. Then we need to store it in an array. So I'm creating a byte array, and let me just give some variable name called as an byte data. Okay, so now we have capture the screenshot. Okay, how we are capturing the screenshot with the help of the driver, and after capturing the screenshot the output type will be bytes. Now we need to convert this bytes to an image, and post converting to the image we need to attach in the report. Okay, and how we are generating the report? So basically, right, at the scenario level, which means we need to inject the scenario knowledge to this capture screenshot method. So how we can inject the scenario knowledge in the sense, in a Cucumber BDD framework, okay, so if you need to inject the scenario knowledges, then there is a class called as a scenario. If I just type in scenario, okay, which will inject the all scenario knowledge, and let me give some variable name called as an sc. Now we are going to capture the screenshot and we are going to attach the screenshot in the scenario level. Okay, so that is the reason I'm just calling the scenario, in which we are having a method called as an attach. Now if you notice, there are two attach method. Okay, but if you notice, it is differentiating by the data type. So either we can attach the byte data and the media type and the name, or else the user can inject the string data, media type and the name. So based upon the input we are injecting, the appropriate attach method will be executing by overloading the other method. As we have captured the byte data, I'm sharing the byte data. Okay, and after that, like we need to specify the media type. Okay, so the media type in the sense the output which we need. So let me convert the byte data as an image. So just I'm making it as an image. And what is the format of the image? We are having the different format like JPG or PNG, right? So I'm just making it as an PNG. Okay, and then okay, at finally, like we need to provide some name for the screenshot. What is the name we can provide? So basically, right, we can provide the scenario name as the screenshot name. So how we can provide that? As we are injecting the knowledge of the scenario, if I say sc dot, there is a method called as an get name. Okay, it will get the scenario name. We are like providing the screenshot name same that of the scenario name. So now what happened? Like whenever we execute any of the script, every time, okay, after executing the test step, it is going to call the class called as an at after step, and then it is going to capture the screenshot and it is going to attach the screenshot in the scenario level. Post that like the same screenshot will be attached in the report, so automatically the framework will take care of it. Okay, so now if I run any of the scenarios, it is going to like generate the report as well. So moving forward, like what I'm going to do, after executing I need to auto close the browser. So how we can do? Yes, it is very simple. Okay, so there is another annotation called as an at after, right? So when this at after annotation will execute, so only after executing all the test steps, after executing all the test steps, we are going to close the browser. Okay, if you notice there are two at after annotation, make sure you are using the io.cucumber.java. Always verify the import statement even at the top. If you are using wrong import statement, so then this at after annotation won't work. Okay, so I'm using the at after annotation, and immediately, right, I'm creating one method below it. So public void, okay, close browser. Okay, now I'm going to write the coding how we are going to close the browser. We need to call the context because we have already shared the context knowledge, and inside the browser base, okay, we are going to retrieve the driver details, and we are retrieve the web driver, and in which we are having the method called as an close. So whenever I say driver.close, it will close the browser. But there is another method called as an quit. So why I'm going to use the quit method in the sense, because if I say close, here how many tabs are present? So more than like kind of an 6 tab is present. Now whenever I say close, if the WebDriver control is present in this class, it will close only this window. But we need to close all the window. So that is the reason instead of a close method, I always used to use the quit method. So whenever we use the quit method, it will close all the instance. But whenever we use a close method, it will close only the current instance. So in case if they are asking what is the difference between the close method and the quit method, okay, so this close method will close only the current instance, okay, where the WebDriver is present, whereas the quit method will close all instance. Okay, because if there is of a multiple window, we need to close all the instance. So that is the reason I'm using the quit method. So moving forward, like whenever we run the coding, so after execution, it will auto close the browser. Now let me just run the script and let's see so whether it is generating the report, as well as like inside the report it should attach the screenshot, and as well as like after executing the scenario, it should auto close the browser, because we have done all the needed configuration over there. The execution begins now. If you notice, it should close the browser, it should auto close the browser. After navigation, it should auto close the browser. If you notice, the browser is auto closed and it says pass. Now let us review the report. So where the report will be present? Obviously like inside the target folder, because we have specified the target folder. So every time the latest report will be automatically replaced. Okay, so if we need the report to be stored permanently, then we need to do some configuration, so which we can discuss in the later part. Okay, now let me right click and let me click on open in. Okay, now this time along with the report, it should have the screenshot. Now if I open the report, now if you notice, under each and every statement there is a 3 screenshot. If you notice, the screenshot name is same that of the scenario name, because we have done in such a configuration. If I click on the screenshots, right, okay, you could be able to see it has captured all the screenshots. Okay, so how we are capturing the screenshot? So only with the help of the at after step. So this is how the annotation play the role. Okay, even if we have any precondition, yes, we can set the precondition. Like let's say, so every time I need to notify to the user the browser is invoked, then how I can say, like I can use some at before annotation. Okay, so then I can create one immediate method. So public void Okay, let it be of an setup method. For time being, let me add a one sysout statement. I can say execution begins. Okay, so then what happens? So whenever we run the script, okay, initially, okay, that before will execute. It says an information to the users like it is beginning the execution, and then it will execute the test steps. So if no annotation is present, it will execute only the test steps. If the annotations are present, it is going to execute the annotations as well. Okay, so whatever the annotation we have done, so it will execute the logic which is present under the each and every annotations. Okay, so this is how like we can make use of hooks as well. So depends upon our need. Okay, we can configure in the hooks file. Okay, so the hooks is not only used to like set the pre-request. So we are not only setting the pre-request, which is nothing but the browser invocation. We can even configure the closer of the browser. We can configure to like kind of take the screenshot, etc. Okay, now if you notice, so before, after executing the scenario, it's print the statement called as an execution begin. Then it's execute the given statement when statement. This embedding means which indicates it's capturing the screenshot. Okay, it is capturing the byte in the PNG, and it is attaching the like respective screenshot in the report. Okay, so this is how like we will be creating the basic report.